One of the days that I returned home, I found my stepfather Kevin beating my older sister. I ran to my sister to protect her. He was trying to force her to give up ownership of our house, which my mother had given her in her will before she died. He had done this with many other people in the village, taking their homes and money. He said, "You think that you're a real man and can protect your sister? You're just a useless fool, and I know how to make you pay the price." The thing is, Kevin had a power over everyone, and it's why everyone was so afraid to cross him. It's not because of his wealth. It's not because he is a strong and powerful man. He's barely even able to stand on his own 2 feet. It's not even because he has a strong personality or because he's friends with the mayor. The power Kevin has over all the villagers is simply that he is the only person who is capable of resisting the genie when she appears and calls him. That is what made the genie fall in love with him, and it's why she serves him. If anyone disobeys Kevin, the genie will call that man's name and his soul will be drawn into the depths of the sea by the genie. Oddly enough, this works, and anyone that has stood against Kevin has been found dead lying on the beach. Of course, everyone in the village believes this fantasy, but I have always known that something is wrong, and I am sure that Kevin is the one who invented the story of the genie in order to control the people of the village and exploit them and take their possessions. My name is David, and I study in a school for chemistry because of my love for it. My older sister and I live in a village by the coast full of ignorant people. We've always heard a story about a beautiful woman who would appear every so often and call out the name of someone from the village. When the person heard their name, they would follow her and never return. She would take his soul with her to the depths of the sea. Obviously a legend, I was never convinced of her existence and never believed the people in our village, even though they all believed it deep in their hearts. They used to say that I was crazy when I walked on the beach at night and shouted at the top of my voice to prove to everyone that she didn't exist. After these escapades, I would return home with a huge smile of victory and mock the people in the village and their foolishness for believing something so ridiculous. My sister asked me to keep quiet and told me that she has decided to give up the house because she doesn't want to lose me as well. I said to her, "Don't believe him. He's a liar and there is no genie." My sister cried and said, "Your mother drowned because of the same reason. She was exactly like you. When Kevin came and asked her to give up the house, she refused. And the result was that the genie chose her. And we found her dead on the beach a few days later." I felt a fire burning inside of me. This makes no sense at all. And this only means that Kevin is the one who killed my mother. I didn't know what to do or how to act. Later, I saw him on the street with some people begging him for mercy. I went to him and said, "I know that you're the reason behind my mother's death and all those who die in the village as well. I also know that you invented the whole story about the genie and I'm going to expose it." Kevin smiled mockingly and said, "This sounds so familiar. Oh, I remember 10 years ago when your mother was standing in front of me talking the same way. But look where her bravery got her. The genie called her. Don't forget to say hello to the genie when she chooses you." And then he left with a sarcastic smile. Some men looked at me in fear, and my sister screamed and started crying and saying, "The genie will choose you! The genie will choose you!" I decided then to start walking through the village and shouting loudly, "Kevin is a liar, and he invented this whole story. Let's get him out of the village. It's time for the genie to disappear, and all of you go back to living in peace." People were afraid as they listened to me. Kevin interrupted me and said to the people, "Are you going to listen to this crazy son of a crazy woman? You have all seen what happened to her and everyone who stands in my way. The genie will curse them and they will be finished." I screamed at them, "Kevin is a thief! He stole all of your money and your possessions! This man is a crook!" With mockery, he responded, "You all know that I did not take a single penny for my own sake." He also said in a stuttering manner, "All the money and possessions and gold were taken by the genie to the depths of the sea. In exchange, she would leave you alone and hurt no one. I am the servant that is dedicating his life to protecting you and keeping you safe. But this man is a traitor." And as soon as he finished saying what he had to say, the villagers began to hurl stones, bad words, and insults at me. They started coming down on me like rain, but after a lot of effort, I managed to escape. After this incident, I returned to my room, and my sister locked me up to prevent me from going out. She was terrified that the genie would call me. One day, without my sister knowing, I escaped from the window and went out to wander on the beach. I tried to think of how to reveal the truth about Kevin to the entire village and get my revenge. Suddenly, a beautiful woman appeared out of nowhere, and I was shocked by how beautiful she was. She was magical, with her hair as black as the night and long enough to cover her whole body. Her dress was very revealing. She was singing in an angelic voice like I had never heard before in my life. And when she saw me, she ran away and I couldn't catch her. Every day, I would return to the same place at the same time, hoping to see her again and tell everyone about her magic and her beauty. I didn't care about anyone else at this point. I was so obsessed that I forgot about Kevin the liar and even my sister and the whole world. I had forgotten everything but her. The whole village was sure that she was a genie, and I was the fool who thought she was an ordinary girl and the genie was just a myth. One day, while I was walking along the beach missing her, I saw a small, beautiful golden shell on the sand, and as I got closer, I saw another shell, then a third one. I followed the shells until I reached writing in the sand saying, "Find me." I told the people of the village and begged them to help me in order to find this woman. I was completely captivated by her, and I couldn't bear being away from her. They refused to help me and told me that I was bewitched. Panic and fear spread throughout the village to the point that no one dared to leave their homes. They locked themselves up and were afraid to go out. So I decided to go after her on my own. I had had a dream in the middle of the night where she told me, "Come meet me. I am waiting for you at the sea." Although I had no hope of this dream being true, I ran to the sea. To my surprise, I found footprints just like those in the dream. I followed the footprints, which led me to the beach. As I got to the beach, there were more footprints in the sand. Followed them until I found a dead fish lying on the shore. It had been disemboweled, and there was a note inside. It read, "In order to find me, you must first solve this riddle. Somewhere around you is a triangle with 4 eyes and 1 mouth." I ran back to the village and started asking everyone about the meaning of this riddle, but they all shut the door in my face and avoided talking to me. What could possibly be triangular and around me? I started looking at everything around me. I found nothing but buildings and shops, and suddenly I noticed the houses. All houses are built like a triangle, but with 4 eyes? Of course! The windows! Each house has 4 windows, and the mouth must be the front door. But what does she mean? She's definitely not in any of these houses. I have known these villagers all my life. Suddenly, I remembered the house down our street. It has been abandoned for years, and all the people are afraid to even walk on the same street. But she cannot be there. I ran back to our house, picked up a flashlight, and quickly left before anyone noticed. I got to the house. To tell you the truth, I was shivering, barely able to stand. However, I pulled myself together and entered. It was pitch black, except for the light coming from my flashlight. There were spider webs everywhere. My heart started racing and my breaths were shorter. I looked around. There was nothing but ruin. Suddenly, I heard the sound of footsteps from far away. Not the footsteps of one person or two, but that of many people. I called out with a trembling voice, and as soon as I called, I heard her beautiful voice singing. Oh, how I have longed for her voice. All of a sudden, I could feel my whole body relax. Her voice made me feel happy, and the fear vanished, so I wandered deeper inside the house. The sound was getting closer. The closer her voice got, the faster I ran, calling out for her. "Where are you?" I called. But then I could no longer hear the singing. Just then, I heard a loud scream. She was crying for help. "Help me! Help me!" I anxiously opened the door, and to my shock, the room was full of jewels, gold, and countless treasures. As soon as I tried to touch a piece of it, the footsteps came back, but this time much louder. My whole body started to shudder. I was terrified, so I ran out of the house like a madman. I was panting when I arrived back at the village, and I started shouting to all the villagers who came out startled. They were as curious to know what happened to me as they were scared. I told them about everything, the huge amounts of jewelry I found, and her voice that was crying out for my help. I asked them to come back with me to save her. They were all trembling in terror, except for Kevin, my father, who was standing far away, listening to me and sarcastically smirking. But once I mentioned the jewelry, he panicked. Suddenly, the unthinkable happened. Kevin kept shouting loudly and saying, "Oh, people of the village, this prodigal son will lead you all to your damnation. Do not listen to him. This boy was bewitched. The genie has possessed him. His existence imposes a danger upon all of us. He must die, oh people of the village. Burn David. It's the only way to rid our village of this curse. It's the only way to save our village. Burn him." His words began to rally the villagers. They grabbed me and forcibly tied me to the trunk of a palm tree. They assigned 2 guards to keep an eye on me so that I would not escape. They piled up firewood for 3 nights in order to light a great fire that would rid them of me and this curse, as they say. My sister kept screaming for them to release me, but to no avail. On the day when they decided to get rid of me, the villagers all gathered. They dragged me and threw me inside a large circle surrounded by the firewood. Right before they lit the fire, I saw her, standing out in front of me among the people with her unparalleled beauty. She started calling me by name, yelling hard and loud. I began to worry, and I felt that something was wrong. Her long hair began to shorten, her charming voice grew thicker, and her innocent features transformed. And to my shock, when I looked at her bottom half, it was not a normal human body, but something in the shape of a fish's tail. I kept screaming and saying, "Oh, people of the village, help me! The genie is calling for me, help me!" She kept shouting, "Come with me!" And I kept screaming and distancing myself as far as I could. Although no one could see her but me, everyone got scared and ran away. Kevin was standing still, shocked and filled with rage. I closed my eyes and told her to go away. "I don't agree to come with you." As soon as I said that, a shriek shook the entire village. I felt the earth beneath me moving, and then she disappeared. The villagers kept watching in astonishment and fear. Kevin shouted nervously and tensely, "Kill him! He's cursed! Kill him quickly!" They began trying to start the fire. But after several attempts, they started yelling. One of them said the firewood was not burning. Another one said, "The genie has definitely fallen in love with him, and now she is protecting him because he refused to go with her." I stood in the midst of them and said, "Oh, people of the village, I apologize for not believing what you said in the beginning, that the genie was real. Forgive me for putting you in danger. But as you all know, the rule states that whoever can resist the genie and refuse to go with her, she will love him and be his servant." I started walking towards Kevin and saying that anyone who stands in the face of the genie's love or tries to hurt him will die. Kevin tried to kill me, and this made the genie angry with him, so that's why you have to burn him. Kevin screamed, "No, no, no, my son, I beg you, forgive me," and kept crying, "I learned from my mistake, please don't let them kill me." To tell you the truth, I could not bring myself to do it. After all, he is my father. So I only banished him from the village forever. I told them to expel Kevin from the village, otherwise the genie will return and curse all of them. I approached him with a malicious smile and said the same thing he told me. Say hi to the genie when she calls for you. He tried to say something but didn't have the chance, as they took him by force and expelled him. Kevin fled for good because he knew that his return would mean death. And I learned my lesson, finally believing in genies. Ha! You bought that, didn't you? Is it because you were stupid and believe in superstition? The villagers were stupid, which helped me get rid of Kevin and deceive the entire village easily. Okay, wait a minute. Before you start swearing, I will explain to you what happened. After knowing that Kevin was behind my mother's death and the villagers refused to believe me, I swore that I would take revenge on Kevin. I decided to use his same methods, but do them my way this time. I kept a close eye on him for a while. Then one night, I followed him to the abandoned house. After he left, I entered the house and I was astonished. All this gold and money Kevin has stolen from my mother and other people in the village. Right there and then, I decided to carry on with my plan to the day I expose him and return the rights of my mother and the rights of the villagers. Fast forward to the day I went and lied to them, saying that I saw a beautiful girl. I was sure they'd think it was the genie, so I began fabricating the story. I told them that I found footprints, seashells, and letters from her, until I eventually convinced them that she sent me a riddle, and that I was trying to solve it. Am I not a genius? Okay, no need to applaud. Let's continue. I ran to the villagers, saying that I figured out the riddle, and that she was in the abandoned house. I also told them that I had found a lot of money and jewelry. I expected Kevin to get nervous and run back to the abandoned house to check on his money, and when he did, I would take the villagers to surprise and expose him. However, Kevin did something unexpected that shocked me. At that time, I had to quickly change the plan. Fortunately, my sister was there, and one night she came to check on me. The guards watching me were busy talking to each other. So, I took the opportunity and asked my sister to do the following. Since I am knowledgeable in chemistry, I asked her to go get a certain substance and pour it all over the firewood without anyone noticing. This substance prevents ignition and makes the wood non-flammable, no matter how hard they try to burn it. After they threw me in the firewood, I made them think that I saw the genie, and that I was able to resist her. When they tried to light the fire, of course, it did not burn, thanks to the substance we added. Well, you know the rest. As for the money, I took it all, because none of them deserved it. After they decided to burn me, they only deserved to live in ignorance and backwardness. Later, I ruled the entire village. Everyone feared and respected me, and I became the king.